And we're coming back to you live from our homes. I'm Sean.
I'm Zach.
Uh, sorry, that felt like the right time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was definitely prepared and ready.
Well, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you were those things. And because you're both of those things, you're prepared to say something right now. Go.
Oh my gosh, look out the window. Do you see how there's like trees and stuff? Isn't that crazy? Wow, nailed it. Whew.
I'm in a basement.
Oh, fetch. I had one job.
You freaking idiot.
Well, listen. Um, it's kind of your fault that you don't have an amazing view of a tree right now, because I kind of do. So like,
No,
it's
wait.
kind of embarrassing.
Let me look around my room there.
The leaves are yellowing, so it's like a nice yellow and green. It's pretty pretty.
There's a fake plant growing out of Stitch's head. Does that count?
Oh man, whew. You got me beat. What can I say? Darn.
Doesn't get much better than that, baby.
You make a compelling argument.
Okay, Zach. Can I level with you right now?
On a scale
Today-
of 1 to 10?
Like level with you
Yeah, but like
right
what?
now.
Okay.
I'm really tired.
I was
not what I'm
gonna take this stupid bit further, and I was like, you know what? No, just hit me with it, Sean.
we need
It's
to
not
do a
necessary.
bit. We need to do a bit where we just like spend 5 minutes just like stammering and trying to say something, but neither of us understands the other one, and so we just kind of like trail off every single time.
Wait, don't we actually just have like 100 episodes of that?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you know.
I mean, it's kind of like do you remember like that one time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's I was just saying that yes.
Right. Yeah. But if you really, from another, right?
Well, actually, there's and then after.
This sucks,
Yes.
man. it sounds like Discord is just cutting out.
I know. I was first off, I was trying not to laugh. I was like, I guarantee that like listening to this back is actually just gonna sound like technical difficulties.
It's that's so stupid.
That's all it's gonna be.
Okay, no, leveling with you right now. I listened today Today.
Like this very day?
To the episode of Spicy Nuggs and Smash Bros.
That's brave.
In which a cat walks up to us for the first time.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Right. And you were talking about architecture and how boring all the buildings around here are.
Castles. I
Yes.
was talking about castles.
But you said, I think, one of the funniest things I've ever heard you say in that episode. There's a couple of possibilities, but the one that really stood out to me was the cat walked over and interrupted us, right? And so I was like, so Zach, if that cat is the one that designed all of these box buildings, how do you feel about them now? And you said, oh, I think that cat is incredibly creative and a genius. And I said, so you think cats are less creative than humans? And you said, and this is where it gets good, no, I think cats just really like boxes.
Why is that the pinnacle of comedy for you?
I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Hey man, we don't script this stuff, you know?
I feel like that was like the easiest response to go to, but it's fine.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. I am a comedic genius sometimes.
But the arc of that whole episode is amazing because we get distracted by the cat, and then we finally be like, okay, can we talk about architecture for the last like 2 minutes? What do you got, Zach? And you go, I just think architecture could be more interesting, like architecture that blends more into the landscape, or like medieval castles. I love how medieval castles look, and that's what I realized. I was like, this is what this has all been leading up to. We spent the last 25 minutes
Yeah.
Literally just building up to Zach being like, I really like castles.
Listen, when you really like castles, you understand. Like, I had to get there in some sort of natural, thought-provoking way. I could just be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Sean, castles.
Very normal process to get there, yeah.
And
No,
yeah.
I had to like, I just like, you're a genius. Like I can't. My problem was I remember finishing filming that episode and going home and being like, I don't know how I felt about that episode. Not because of anything in it necessarily, but because I had almost nothing to say just because I didn't know what to say. I was like, I even say it in the episode. I just don't think I have that strong of opinion about this. But like, it's just like, but now I listen back to it and I'm like, that might be in like the top 5 for me.
No way.
Certainly the top 10. Certainly the top, maybe not the top 5, but certainly the top 10.
You know, castles.
Castles. What can
So,
you say?
Sean, now that we're back to this topic of castles, and you had a long time to really think and ponder about architecture and why I'm right about castles.
True. Yeah.
Tell me your story, your journey to get to where you are now.
Yeah. So here's how it started. I went home that day and I said, I have to understand Zach better.
Yeah.
It is my duty as a friend and also as the one at the bottom of the barrel, I need to try to be better.
So I'm obviously the idol, the role model.
Well, I mean, you're one of them. You're not the best one, but this was just a good stepping off point. You know, it's like you're not the Corb and you're not Mac. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's true, but like I'm still above you, so like
right. Well, so is everybody. So it doesn't really mean anything.
That kind of hurt my soul a little bit. A little more than usual.
So, anyways, aside from your feelings, I decided, okay, I'm going to go on the spiritual journey. So I started doing research. I Googled pictures like crazy. Just Google. Castle, box, castle.
Did you type castles in all caps?
Castle, box, castle. Castle, box, castle. Castle, box, castle. So,
anyways,
I did that. I did that for like a year.
Oh, dude! Wow. That's okay. Okay. So, let's start on a basic level. Okay. What are your feelings on machiculations?
I don't know what that means.
He has such a long way to go still.
I did was
research.
I spent a year
research for this.
But all of my research was just Googling pictures of castles. I didn't actually read anything.
Okay. So you've clearly seen some machiculations then. Okay. That's
you
fine.
say so. You could have said that to me a year ago and I would have believed you, you know?
Okay. Let's start with the most iconic part of the castle. The thing everybody knows. The keep. How do you feel about the keeps and why the keeps are so cool?
I'll be real with you.
Yeah.
The first time I ever heard the word keep in reference to any type of architecture was in the book Mistborn. Using context clues, I began to understand that it might have something to do with some type of castle-y type architecture.
Okay. Progress.
And that's all I know about keeps.
Okay. I thought we went super basic level. We're gonna go a little bit farther down. Really just hitting the foundations of what castles are built upon.
Yeah.
Walls.
The ground. Oh.
Oh, yes. Tell me about the dirt and the rocks that the castles are built upon.
As the one at the bottom of the barrel, now we're in my field of expertise.
Perfect. Enlighten me.
So, rock. earth, fire, air. That is the stuff that keeps us from going further down. That's all I've learned.
That is a great start. Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna stretch your knowledge just a little bit. I'm gonna have you do some critical thinking here and try to come to a conclusion. Okay?
Shoot!
Just bear with me here. Bear with me. Okay.
I'm bearing.
So if the ground is what stops you from going down, right? Would you also want to stop people from coming up to the castle?
Stairs.
No. Stairs might make it a little bit easier. What kind of ground would you want a castle to be on, Sean?
Hard ground.
Yes. Okay, good foundation. Let's think elevation.
Well, if you don't want your enemies to come up to the castle, then build the castle down so that they have to come down to it.
Oh, okay. So, no. but we will go down.
Hey man,
you're
like
on the right track here.
Weren't you like a math tutor? Shouldn't you be better at teaching me?
Well, no. Listen.
That was really mean.
I am bringing you down so I can build you up later. It's part of my process, okay?
Bruh.
Just trust in the process.
Bruh, actually though, this actually seamlessly transitions into something I want to
Okay, get us off of this rant.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of amazing. Holy cow. That's crazy. You don't have any... Do you have something you want to talk about today? I think it's technically maybe your week. I don't really know.
Oh, I didn't think it was. But honestly, we talked about castles, and I'm pretty okay with that.
Okay.
But closing thoughts on castles, because like this
Please.
is kind of the important part of the episode that's really dear to my heart.
Everything else after this, after he finishes his bid on castles, you guys can leave. You're done. You don't have to listen to it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is when, you know how I just tore you down before? I am about to enlighten you on castles, Sean.
Please, I'm ready.
Castles should be built on a fortified location, preferably high ground, with sturdy walls, a sturdy keep, and beautiful machiculations.
Beautiful.
These castles should become the standard way of living for everyone.
Standard mushy gushy.
And houses should be gone. They should become extinct. And
no more house,
castles should replace every single one, except my castle's going to be the coolest one. The end.
Really cool mushy gushy managatas.
Dude, do you feel enlightened?
I feel something.
That's the enlightenment. It's working.
Okay, so let me transition away from that.
Sorry. I just looked over and my cat is staring at me, just barely, like her eyes are just barely peeking over the rim of her hammock she's laying in.
She's super pissed at you because you're talking about getting rid of box buildings.
What? Fetch your right.
Mm-hmm.
She's plotting to kill me in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping.
Yeah, man. Just like
no. It's okay. I swear there will be box buildings still. Okay, you can keep your box buildings.
No. We just start hearing hissing, and then like you just screaming out, and we're like, oh my gosh, Zach's getting bodied.
My cat comes down, sits in front of the mic, just starts meowing, takes over the podcast.
Yeah, and then I just continue this conversation with a cat.
Honestly, that sounds like a way better podcast than what we're doing right now. Hey, do you want to come join the podcast?
You know, the only way I could think to improve it is if I stuck my tortoise Zippy in front of the microphone, and then you and your Zippy and your cat.
Yes! Dude, I would subscribe and hit the notification bell, just like everyone else should do to this podcast that you're listening to right now.
Hey guys, If we get 10,000 likes, we will do the Cat and Zippy podcast episode.
True. And if we get 1,000,000 subscribers, Sean will do a face reveal.
Shh, dude, we didn't talk about this.
Sean, it's for the YouTube money. It's fine. Just go with it.
But I don't even have a face to reveal.
That's the grand surprise. Everyone will be so shocked.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's Slender Man.
Now that I've derailed us even more, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sean, you had a beautiful topic.
Honestly, I think this has the makings for a top 10 episode as well, unless I go off on this topic, which I will. So here we go.
Honestly, this it went from top 10 material to top 100 material real fast.
That's right. So, in my nihilism class, we recently read.
Was there a TED Talk?
No.
Okay.
No TED Talks. It's gross.
I just had to get that out of the way so we're all on the same mental plane.
So we read this lady who lived in the early 1900s. Her name is Simone Weil. And she, I don't know if she calls herself this or if other people kind of coined the term, but she is known as a Christian atheist.
I'm sorry.
Take that for what you will. Okay. Her life was crazy. Let me give you a breakdown of this lady. She's insane. She was born into a Jewish family, basically spent her whole life agnostic, not really saying there's no God, not really saying there is a God, but later in her life became very anti-Semitic. Semitic, is that the right word? Very racist against Jews, right?
Okay.
Then, at the age of 33, I believe, she converted to Christianity, and she was a Christian of a total of 4 years before she died. Over the course of those 4 years, she had starved herself to death, and that's how she died.
Oh my goodness.
Right.
Okay.
So, the reason this correlates with us talking about castles, you talked about going up and down, how you need to build up onto a fortified foundation. The book we read by her, the book is called Gravity and Grace. And she talks about how everything that can affect your soul is analogous with gravity. So for her, basically any kind of sin, any kind of focus on worldly things, that's gravity. You're going down. You're being pulled down into worse things. And the only thing that can pull you back up is grace. Grace is the only thing that can transcend gravity on the soul, right? So most of this just sounds like an interesting kind of way of thinking about normal Christianity.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Her belief about God, and this is like, I don't even have much to say about this. I just think it's bonkers. I think it's one of the most unique ideas about God I've ever heard. So, to her, she says multiple times throughout her writings, God does not exist. But at the same time, she talks about grace and how only God's grace can save you. So there's like a paradox there.
Right.
Basically, her belief about God is that before anything else existed, God was, right? And it's important to realize her idea of God is not like a person. It's just like, it's indescribable. If you try to categorize it, you've already failed, right? So because God was, nothing else could exist because God was there. He's taken up all the space, I guess. Right?
Okay.
So her view of the creation is God didn't create anything because he couldn't. There was no space to. So what he did is he decreated himself. He kind of retreated and pulled back and caused himself to stop existing to some degree. And through that, natural scientific processes could occur, which let the universe come into being.
Okay.
Right?
I'm just... my brain's in overdrive right now. Keep talking. I'll have a good thought eventually.
You're good. So, That's why this is a unique explanation for why bad things happen. Because if God exists, then like people like, oh, I'm so grateful God saved me from that car accident I was just in. Well, you could argue God also caused the car accident, right? Well, in her
Yes.
argument, God doesn't cause anything. All he does is get out of the way. Not he literally is powerless to do anything to us or for us. He's just pushing himself out of the way. So for her, the most important thing is to find a way to ascend, right? There's this gravity and grace thing again, right? So you need grace to ascend back to God. Well, how are you going to get to God? He doesn't exist. So it is by, and there, this is where like some Buddhism kind of comes into this. It's kind of the you need to stop existing. You need to stop having a self, right? That's getting in the way. The more you believe that you exist, the more you will not be with God.
Okay, so I'm gonna need some clarification real fast.
Please, I'm obviously an expert on this. I heard
Yes,
one
yes.
class period about it, but
I can tell you how I know everything tie on right now. Um,
indeed.
so if God pulled back and ceased to exist in some manner,
Hmm.
for me, my initial thought is, why would he cease existing completely? So when she says God doesn't exist, would it be that God doesn't exist in our realm, or
I
does
think
God not, or did he completely like?
I think to her, I my and Ryan only said this once in class, but I kind of clung to it. I think to her, God is the void. The
Hmm.
void is like it's nothing, right? It's literally nothing. So God pulled back his void, which allowed things. Maybe that's another way to think
Oh,
about it.
weird.
Yeah.
That okay. That clears up a lot, but adds so many more questions. Because like, so I, for those who don't know, I'm also taking a philosophy class right now, and it is called Philosophy of Religion.
Oh
And
yeah, this is perfect.
for the
Yeah.
first probably month of the semester, all we did was go over like omnipotence, omnibenevolence, just all the God's traits basically, and different
Right.
arguments of like the problem of evil, and like you mentioned the problem of evil, um, things like this. But like, so in a way, she is like she isn't arguing like she argues that God is but isn't. And so like
Correct.
none of God's attributes that like the modern Christian would apply to God even matters.
1,000. In fact, it's not that it doesn't matter. It can't. It can't. Like you, because the moment you try to attribute something to him, you've already misnomered him because you can't describe him. Even me saying
Yes,
you can't
yes.
describe him, I'm calling him a him. I'm doing something wrong.
I wish there was I could pull off the top of my head. We did this reading in class a couple weeks back, and it was this same exact idea. And this whole person's argument was that the human mind cannot understand God, and to
Hmm.
pretend we can is like such a disservice.
Yeah,
Um,
that sounds exactly like her. Yeah.
and in a way, I very much agree with that idea.
Yes.
Which is strange because at the same time, I would pull from other sources as well that, or like just other teachings that kind of go against that idea.
I know exactly what you mean. I feel like in the church, a lot of the talk is, well, we do a lot of defining God, right? To the church, like having a body is very important. So God has a body, right? And he's a him, right? Like
Yes,
and he's benevolent and all knowing and all of these things. Those are all like
and
definitions we
even the
give to him.
fact that we're able to talk about these definitions, right? Like that is a staple as well.
Exactly. Um, but I think I understand where you're feeling that contradiction too, because I think at least for us, perhaps the idea is we have a specific amount of knowledge about him, perhaps what we pull from the Book of Mormon or the Bible or whatever, right? Um, but um, there's some concept that we definitely don't know everything.
Right.
And perhaps the amount that we do know is so minuscule, it's almost like insignificant. Would you say that might be accurate for what you're saying, or no?
Yeah. I feel like the understanding we have um, is just like a small fraction, right? It's
Hmm.
what we need. Um, and then it's always been. I don't know how religious we want to go.
Dude, we're talking about the nature of God. I think we're already
Okay,
there.
fair enough, fair enough. So like my understanding is that, or like my, I don't know, maybe not my understanding, maybe my belief is
Uh-huh.
that when I would die and eventually go to heaven, all this stuff, that is when a lot more of like the aspects of God and everything, like that's where it's all going to, like it's almost like enlightenment basically. Like that's when
Right.
everything makes sense, and what we have here on Earth is like what we need for Earth to give, and then the rest we rely on through faith.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's super accurate for our beliefs. I think that's totally true. We're given the amount we need to know, and then other mysteries will be given to us later on. Um, I think with the case of Simone Weil, it's important to remember, like throughout her writing, she references Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism. Like she's very well read. Like
Right.
definitely. She's done tons of this. And she definitely like pulls, like I said, like that concept of like wanting or the to stop existing. Like that's totally Buddhism. Like that's
Yeah.
100% Buddhism, right? Um, so like she pulls stuff from all of those things, and then kind of comes in contact with Christianity, with the idea of grace and stuff like that, but it still doesn't fully mesh because of how she defines God and stuff like that. Or doesn't define God, I should say.
So it's fascinating. So what's fascinating is that, like, I like how you opened with she's an atheist Christian. I think that's
Mhm.
the phrase you used. Um,
Yeah.
and while I think that makes sense, I almost don't want to define it like that.
I
Um,
understand. Yeah.
because by saying by saying atheist or Christian, that puts you into a specific mindset in which to view these ideas. Oh, and I feel like this is like something else. Like it's
I I think it's definitely something else. Like I think it's no um like because she only converted to Christianity in the last 4 years of her life,
right.
right? That's pretty telling, I think. um so she certainly doesn't fully I mean, obviously she certainly doesn't fully subscribe to all the things of Christianity, nor does she fully deny the existence of God. She just fully defines it, or doesn't define it, as something else. um
Right.
I think, and maybe this will be a good place to end. I don't know how long we're at, but um, one of the important things for her is she talks about, again, this is very a Buddhist idea, but she talks about reality, or the real, in quotes there. Um, and for her, the real is any is God, basically. God is the real. God is the only thing that truly is real. Everything else is a metaphor, or if you look at Buddhism, it's an illusion, right? Um,
So this is not only pulling Buddhism, but it's like Hinduism as well now.
yes, exactly, right? Brahman's the only truly real thing, right? Exactly, right? So God is the only truly real thing. At the same time, he doesn't exist. Um, and in that, there's this paradox. And she says in her writings, contradictions are where the real resides. Something along those lines. So the idea that people, or she herself, calls her a Christian atheist, which is literally a contradiction, actually kind of perfectly encapsulates her and her belief.
Man. So, I have one more thought that just came to me. There, I wish I knew this was a topic, so I could come prepared with names. we also
We
did
don't roll
this.
that way, man.
We also did this reading. This was more frequent, recent. It was like 3 weeks ago now, maybe a little bit sooner, but we were talking about arguments of God, and um, one of the philosophers we were reading, he argued that even God would like someone didn't have to defend their beliefs about God with evidence, even like if they couldn't put it into words, or if it was impossible to put into words or explain. Like even if there was no evidence at all, that person would be justified in believing in God, no matter what. And he had this whole defense about it. And it was so fascinating. And overall, like it's been crazy to like delve into like Christianity and like beliefs about God, and like what you just brought up about I forget her name. Sorry.
It's okay, man. It's not me. You can remember. You don't have to remember her name.
No, but like it's one thing that's so fascinating is just like how many different beliefs there are about God, and like whether or not the arguments even matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's interesting.
Well,
It's cool.
It's like the even if like you found a way to truly disprove God, I don't think people would stop believing.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's
well, that is a whole question of how could you, right? But
yeah.
whole other thing.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Cool.
I'm glad that held some interest because I was just like, I just found this interesting and I want to talk about it. I don't know what to talk about this like deeper than what it is, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no. I'm also glad we talked about castles and
Truly the two most important things in this world, God and castles. If you can't find one, find the other. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm still shocked.
I'm still sad.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Spicy Nuggs! Spicy Nuggs is our friend. Spicy Nuggs! Spicy Nuggs is our friend. I'll call him.
Oh, please do, please do.
Sean!
Did he hear?
He's deaf.
Oh man, I mean it's kind of crazy because he texted me and then like I was here before him. It was kind of crazy.
You know, well, in his defense, normally you don't respond to texts.
Oh well, listen, there's a first time for everything.
It was today. That's true. It definitely was today.
I was so prepared today. Like this is a momentous occasion. You should be proud and honored.
I definitely feel. I feel something.
That was the greatest awkward silence ever.
I put my heart and soul into it, so thank you. Thank
I
you.
mean, I was gonna commit to it as long as I needed, and then I broke. So actually, I didn't.
I'm still like coming off the UPS store robot.
The UPS store high.
No, it's not a high.
Low.
It's not that. It's nothing. The UPS
Emptiness,
store
the
nothing.
void,
A
the
void.
void, the void
Like my song.
calls.
Check out my song "The Void," where you can't find it anywhere. It's not posted anywhere. Nice, Sean. Let's go.